Fall is the perfect time to cook some apple jelly, and how I make my famous apple jelly I will show you in this video. So for this recipe you will need, of course, apples, and I bought Granny Smith. I hope they have a lot of juice. The quantity of the apples in my case is 4 pounds or 2 kilograms, and the amount of juice that I get out of these apples will basically tell me how much sugar I have to use. So usually it's 1 kilogram of sugar to 1 liter of juice. 1 liter is about 4 cups. The kilogram I have to calculate. You will find this all in the printable recipe on the blog post, and you can switch there below the ingredient list between the metric system and the US customary system if you prefer that. So what you also need is a lemon, some cinnamon sticks, if you like, I do, some rum extract, and some vanilla beans. So in order to get the juice out of the apples, I know of 2 ways. The first way, which I will use today, is using a juicer, and that's the easiest way, of course. The other way, I did that when I was younger and had a very small apartment. I didn't have so much space for equipment. Back then I was just cutting these apples into smaller pieces, boiled them with some water until they were very, very soft, and then I put them into a cheesecloth and let the juice drip out overnight into a bowl, and then boil that a little bit to get rid of the water and thicken it a tiny little bit, and then I continued with making the jelly. So that would be your way if you don't have a juicer. So you would just cut it, put it in a pot, add a little bit of water, make sure it's not going to burn, let it boil until it's very, very soft, and put it into a cheesecloth, let it drip, and then you are all set. So in this case, I'm also cutting the apples into smaller pieces in order to be able to put them into the juicer, and I will show you how I'm doing with that machine in a little bit. Once the apples are cut, I can continue with making the juice. So this is my juicer. I will put a link below the video in the comment section or in the blog post. And so if you want to have the exact same one, I'm very happy with this one. It's very quiet. I like that because I like to make juice in the morning while maybe some people in the house are still sleeping, so it's not too loud. Yeah, and I basically just throw these into the juicer, and it will get most of the juice out, and a very dry kind of pellet comes out of this end of the juicer, which is kind of funny. And I will tell you what you can also do with these little pellets. Okay, but let's first make the juice. I need to cut the apples a little smaller. They're a little bit too large for the tube, so all right. This is a good amount of juice that I got out of it. I have 1 liter here and a little more. And I think I'll leave this little more for me to drink a little later. I think I'm fine with just 1 liter of juice. That's enough for us as a small family for the jam or the jelly. And I already added a little bit of lemon juice in between just to make sure it's not oxidizing. And I'm putting some more lemon juice in here. Give it a little stir. Okay. So these little pellets here, I could throw them away, put them into the compost, but I can also use these to make my own pectin. And pectin is something you use for making jams with fruits that are low on pectin, like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, I think. On the other hand, apples and oranges, they have a lot of pectin already naturally, so I don't need to add any pectin. And this pectin that is still in these leftovers from my juice, I could get it out by just putting this into a pot and put some water on top, let it boil for like an hour, and then remove the pellets and just leave the liquid, boil it a little bit down so it's a little less from the quantity, and the pectin will be in the liquid, and I could store this and use it for like a strawberry jam, but I'm not planning on that, so this will go into my compost. So now it's time to cook all this. I will put the entire juice into this pot, and since it is 1 liter, I add 1 kilogram of sugar. That's a lot. So this is 1 kilogram. And the quantity in terms of ounces I will put into the blog post. I give this a little bit of a stir and heat this up. I also throw in the 2 vanilla pods that I had. I cut them into half so they look like 4 now. And I'm also adding, you can add 1 or 2 of these cinnamon sticks. I think 1 is enough. I don't want to overdo it. And the rum extract will go in a little later at the end. I don't want it to evaporize. Okay, so I will bring this to a boil now and let this boil for about 30 minutes, and then I will test if it is already gelling, and if not, I will have to continue to boil it, but if it's already becoming gel, then I can just go ahead and fill it into the jars. The apple juice has been boiling now for, I think, a little over an hour, and after like the first half hour I started to test if the liquid starts to gel, and finally did so. But I want to show you how I'm doing this. So I have these little plates. You can take any little plate that you have. I put it into the freezer just to make things a little faster, and I take like a tablespoon of my gel liquid and put it on this plate, and I see after a while, you can already see it here on the top, that it starts to set. Delicious. By the way, the entire house is smelling like apple cinnamon. It's perfect for the beginning of fall. It's wonderful. The family just came down and said, wow, what is that? And yeah, I love it. So, and yeah, let's see. It takes a moment to set, but you can already see that it's less fluid than before. So after a while, it's like this, and if I go through it with my finger, you can see it's not immediately going back into shape. So it's still a little warm, still good. So let's set this aside. And before I continue, I have to fish a little bit for the vanilla, and the cinnamon stick. It's really hot. One more left. There it is. And you probably also noticed when I started with the juice, it was quite greenish. And now it is in a wonderful dark red color. It will be more apparent when I fill the jars. So the jars, they are washed with very hot water. They're clean. You can boil them, but you don't really have to. There's so much sugar in this gel. You don't really need to to worry about mold or something. So I'll now add a little bit of this rum. You can of course also use regular rum, but I just want the taste, not the booze. And you can also leave this out. It's, you know, it's, if you don't like this, it doesn't have to be. I just like it when it tastes a little bit like rum. And so let me now start to fill the jar. Let me show you the color. And I fill it as much as I can with only a little gap on the top. Like this. And then I put a lid on it. Close it. I turn it upside down and continue to fill all these jars. And once I'm finished with the jars and have filled them all, after like about 15 minutes, I turn the jars back with the bottom on the bottom and let them cool completely. So this is how I make my apple jelly, and I like it this way. I hope you do too. I really love this on German pancakes. If you need a recipe for that, you will find it there. It's also, of course, good on bread and rolls and everything that you would usually eat with a jam or a jelly. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try it out. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're going to watch my next video.